Hello guys, welcome back to our YouTube channel. Today I'll be talking about introduction to domain of a function. So what is the whole idea of domain? So before we talk about that, let's have some overview of what functions are. So what's a function? So let's say a function is something, I'll put this inside this box f, that takes input x and produce the output what? F of x. So for every input that we give our function, it gives us some what? Input. Okay, so let's say f of x, or the function, is equal to what? Let me use this place, 3 over what? X. So then when we put 2 inside our function f of our function f, it will give us what? F of what? X, which will be what? F of 2, that will give us what? 3 over 2, right? So we can do that for so many values. So let's say we put 4 inside the function. It's like a machine. It will definitely give us some result. This time to give us what? 3 over 4. But then what happens if we put 0 inside this function? If we put 0 inside this function, we'll get what? 3 over 0, which is what? Undefined. So that's where the whole concept of domain what comes in. So what is what? The domain of a function now. The domain, let me write. The domain of a function is a set of what? All inputs over which the function has a defined output. So that's what domain is. So it's a set of all the values for which the function has a defined output. So we can see that for this function, the value 0 does not have what? A defined output. Therefore, it should not be part of what? The domain of what? This function. So let's see how we write domain. So that's what? The notations. There are 2 types. We have interval notation. And then we have what? Set notation. But for the scope of your studies, we'll be focusing more on what? The set notation. So how will we write what? The domain of this set, of this function? So we realize that what? This does not satisfy what? Or it does not make the function defined. So therefore we have to remove it from what? The domain. So one of the things that you have to do when you're writing the domain is removing the things that don't make the function defined. So how will we do this domain? So the domain of this function will be equal to what? So we'll use the curly bracket, which represents what? The set. So it's the values what? Of the what? The x values such that x belongs to what? Real numbers. So we are talking about all the real numbers such that what? X is not what? Equal to what? 0. That will be the domain for this function. So let's say let's take another function. Let's say h of x to be equal to what? 2x plus 2. What will be the domain of this function? So this function, we put x in, into the function h, and then we get what? H of x. If we put all the values that we want to put inside, if you put this inside, you get what? You get, let's say 6. If you put 3 inside, you get what? You get 8. So anytime you put something inside this function, you get a result. Even if you put 0 inside, you get 2. So if you put all the real numbers inside this function, you get something, like you get something which is what? Defined. So therefore the range of this function, the domain, sorry, not the range, the domain of this function will be the set x such that x belongs to what? All real numbers. And this will be the domain for this function. So you will see that from here, not all functions are what? Defined on the set of what? Real numbers. You have some functions that are defined on only positive numbers, real numbers, and some which are defined on small set of numbers. So that's why it's important to compute the domain of the function. In the next videos, we'll be taking all the individual functions that we have, like polynomial function, exponential function, all the type of function, radical function, and we'll be discussing what rational function and more. Okay, there are plenty, and we'll be discussing how to find the domain of each function here into details with examples for you to get a better understanding of this. Yeah, so don't forget to subscribe to our channel.